Welcome to this week's episode of Tiger Talk. We'll be breaking down the last Friday night's matchup between the Logansport Tigers and your LaSalle Tigers. A tough 42-8 loss on the road, but we're turning the page and getting ready for one of the biggest district rivalries of the season, LaSalle versus Montgomery. Joining us tonight, of course, Coach Johnson, number 23, Wyatt King, number 5, Alex Richmond, number 32, Daniel Stowe, number 22, Cooper Stowe. We've got a lot to talk about tonight for what we learned last week, what it'll take to break home the win in a rivalry showdown. All right, Coach, here we go. Number 1.
Right.
Coach, tough loss last week against Logansport. What were some of the biggest takeaways from the game, and what do you feel the team needs to clean up and moving forward?
Well, the biggest thing is making plays on the football when it's in your direction, defensively, rallying to the football, making clean tackles, getting off blocks, and also using your techniques when you get pressured off the line and things like that. But offensively, we gotta clean up a lot with our blocking scheme as far as like understanding who to block and stuff like that. You're always correcting that type of stuff, but a lot of times we were blocking the right guy. We just got out physical. So a lot of these dudes, they need to buy into the weight room over the off season, and so they can grow up and get to that level. Because when you're playing a team that has 2 defensive tackles that are 300 plus, and both of them are 3-4 year starters,
right.
and that's a challenging matchup for some of these young guys. But they'll get better and they'll grow from it in the long run.
On Logansport's second drive, the early fumble gave us great field position, but we just couldn't capitalize on it. How important are those early opportunities in setting the tone for a game, and what do you want to see from the offense in those situations going forward?
That's a big deal. When you're going against a team that has so many athletes like they do and competes for state titles, the margin for error is extremely thin. The difference between a 42-8 game and a 42-28 game, it can be moments like that. And so when we get the ball back off turnovers like that, we got to be willing to do whatever it takes to execute there, whether it's making proper reads for the quarterback or offensive line finishing blocks or creating movement or being willing to get down and dirty and cut legs when they have to. Whatever it takes, we got to be willing to do those things in those moments.
On your fourth possession, it was 4th and 6 from the LaSalle 38. You decided to go for it, and Tuff made a great move, picking up about 30 yards before the ball came loose. But fortunately, Maxwell was right there for the Tigers to scoop it up and take it all the way down inside the 5-yard line. That was a wild play. Talk about the effort and awareness out of that play and how big it was for your offense to capitalize on that kind of hustle.
That was a good play. That was a big moment early in the game because at that point we were still kind of within striking distance. So we could have capitalized there and made something of that. That'd been good. But I do appreciate the 4th and 6 there. I mean, it was one of those moments where you can feel the game kind of slipping out, and we needed to go for it, which we go for it for 4th down a lot. I mean, because when it's 4th or 4 or less, like we talked about, analytics say go for it. And honestly, in that position of the field, I mean, if you punt it, we're not really gaining much from that. So in that situation, we just get a rollout pass, get one of our best athletes in space. If nobody's open, run the ball, and he did. He made somebody miss, and then he got a good play. Now, I'd like to see him hold on to the ball. Having said that, it worked out in our favor, as you talked about. Kaysen was heads up. He was in the area. He picked it up.
He was 10 yards down the field and made it to him.
Yeah, he made a hustle play, and I'm proud of him for that. That's a big deal. Having said that, let's not revisit it. So.
Let's don't try that this week.
Yeah, let's not try it again.
On Logansport's 5th possession, the defense come up big again. Forcing another fumble, creating multiple turnovers like that is huge in any game.
Yeah.
What does that say about your defensive effort and ability to stay aggressive even when things weren't going our way on the scoreboard?
Well, it's one of those games that's unusual. We won the turnover battle 3-0, and then we got blown out. So that sucks. But having said that, I do appreciate the effort and hustle. And that's what I told them after the game last week. During that game, I never questioned the effort or hustle.
No good.
That they never quit, and I told them during the game it was like 42-8, 5 minutes left. I said, guys, we ain't punting the ball. I know we're inside it. We're going for it. I said, I'm not quitting. You ain't gonna quit either. And that's just one of those things. We're not gonna quit. We're always gonna try to do our best to succeed. And even when we're outmatched, that happens. And that's my message to them is like never quit, never stop. And that shows up on defense when you can capitalize on things like that. Because if we can start putting together and finishing with execution. And that was my message is you take the effort and take the hustle and combine that with proper execution and proper reads and taking care of the football and things like that. Then we'll start to see a little bit more success build off of that. So
with that being said, you having their back, they're going to have your back.
Absolutely.
If you continue to say, hey, I know y'all can get this done,
yeah.
they're going to keep doing the same thing. After coming up short on that drive inside the 5, how did you feel the team responded? Did you see the guys hang their heads a bit, or did they stay locked in and ready to battle through the rest of the game?
Well, anytime something like that happens, the snap was a little high. It was catchable, but it wasn't easy catch by no means. It was still high. Yeah. So we got to execute the snap better. We got to catch the snap. And if we run our play there, I feel like we probably score because we had them misaligned.
Right.
And then you're talking about it being 28-8 there, 21-8, whatever it would have been. Then we scored that next possession after that. So then it's 22-16 or whatever. Right. So then you're in the game, and moments like that are big. And so in that moment, to answer your question, you can feel a little bit of deflation when that snap happens. You can feel the sideline go down, but I do appreciate the guys on the sideline. They immediately got right back up, like, guys, we can still do it. And obviously, 2nd and goal from your own 35 or whatever is not ideal. That's not ideal. But they didn't quit in that moment, and we had seen some stuff on that drive that we were able to use on that following drive when we were able to score. So
right before the half, you were down 28-0. But you got the ball back with about a minute and a half left on the clock. In that situation, what was your mindset? Were you looking to push the tempo and try to get some points on the board before halftime? And, of course, you was.
Well, to be honest with you, it was that moment was more of a controlled aggression. Basically, I want to try to score, obviously, because we need the momentum going in the locker room because we know we're getting ball first to start the second half there. And but it's also we want to be controlled and safe. We don't want to our strength is not throwing full verticals. That's obvious. Right. That's out of our 10 interceptions we've thrown this year, I'd venture to say 7 of them have been us trying to throw vertical routes. Right. We aren't good at that right now. And so in that moment, I'm like, hey, let's try to run the ball. We can keep the clock moving. We still got a couple timeouts to play with. And we ended up popping off a couple little good runs there. Tough got a good one. Jesse got a good one.
Jesse was.
And we got down inside striking distance. Then when we're in striking distance, I'm like, all right, now we're set up for the plays that we're good at, which is intermediate passes, double moves, stuff like that, mesh concepts. So when we got down in that moment, then we started to be able to widen them out, and we got a one-on-one with Caden. And their DBs are very good. But anytime I have Caden running a one-on-one, doing double moves, I'm always confident in his ability to at least get separation. If we get a good throw, I know he can make a play, and he did. And that really seals the deal there. We got that touchdown literally as the clock ran down.
That's my next question. Right before the half, Caden Finley hauls in a touchdown to finally get the Tigers on the board, cutting the lead 28-8. Going into the break, how big was the score for your team's confidence, and what's your message to the guys in the locker room at halftime after finally getting some momentum?
Well, in that moment when you score, and especially getting the 2-point conversion right after that was massive. So, I mean, it's 28-8. Yes, you're 3 scores behind, but in that moment, going into halftime, knowing you get ball first, you have an opportunity to bring it back within 2 scores. So, I feel like that got us our momentum back that had deflated after the snap issue. And the message at halftime was simple there. We got to be able to come out and move the ball here to start the second half and score, because our ability to do that will determine if we can stay in the game or not. So,
what kind of defensive looks was Logansport showing that had us struggling at times on offense? Were they doing anything different up front or in coverage to throw off our rhythm?
So, in coverage, they have elite DBs that are really fast and take away most passing concepts really easily. So the screen game was not there. We found that out early. And we're not getting off our meshes very well because we don't have time to throw it. Meshes take a little bit of time to develop. Right. And so then you get into the running game. And the running game that we pick up most of our chunk plays on is simple power plays and gap scheme stuff, counter plays, stuff like that. And they were squeezing their defensive ends really, which everybody we've played has done that. The difference is Logansport's defensive ends look more like White, and they're all athletic as crap. Yeah. And so my sophomore, freshman linemen were getting stoned a little bit. Yeah, exactly. And then we try to go to the interior to stay away from their ends, because the way they squeeze it down, trying to spill us, they're trying to spill us because they know they're going to catch us, and they were. So then it's like, well, we got to go to the interior, but then they got 2 6'2", 320-pound monsters. So
And they're pretty quick.
And we weren't getting any push. So to answer your question, did they do anything different? Not really. They whipped us. So I'll give them credit.
It seemed like Logansport really controlled the line of scrimmage early. What adjustments have you and the coaching staff focused on this week to get the team back on track?
Well, the biggest thing is we worked on our double teams a lot this week, creating more push. We had a lot of small guys getting reps against Caleb Fowler, who's the biggest man I have to offer against them. So we're working on that a lot. And the biggest thing, though, is honestly just returning to doing what we do, doing it at a high level, and staying engaged with understanding we have a plan of attack. It's worked a lot for us this season, and we got to stick to what we do well and just keep getting better at that. Because as a team, we have an identity, and we got to stay with that identity.
Despite the score, there were bright spots in the game. Who are some players that stood out to you with their effort or leadership?
I got to give a shout out to Jesse Stowe right off the bat, and I think any of these guys sitting here would agree with that. Jesse ran his butt off. I mean, for him to have 80 yards rushing in that game when we didn't have any holes was all him. I mean, there might have been a crease, but that crease was not big enough for him to squeeze to. He just made it happen. He made it happen. So he deserves a lot of credit. And a lot of the guys, honestly, the whole team didn't quit, and I'm appreciative of that. We never quit. They never stopped trying. And if we execute better in some moments, I think we stay in the game with them, even though they were a lot physically better up front. That said, these young guys that we have in the offensive line, they needed a game like that to teach them how hard they need to work over the offseason and get to where they need to be physically. So,
unfortunately, it turned into a rough one, ending 42-8. When you look back over the game as a whole, what did you take away from your team, whether it's effort, attitude, or something you could build on going into next week?
Well,
Thursday night.
Yeah, the biggest thing is there was no quit. Right. And I would say more than anything, though, it's a desire to get better and a desire to win. Because after that game, on the bus ride home, it was almost completely silent on the varsity bus. I can't speak for the JV bus, but there was nobody really talking. And the next day when we had practice the following morning, on Saturday morning, literally after we got back at 1 a.m., and after I got home at 3 a.m., every kid on the team minus like 2 were there. And the 2 that weren't there, I knew exactly where they were. So it was incredible to see that. And then Sunday after church, we had practice, and pretty much the whole team was there again. Everybody showed up, so they're bought into continuing on and trying to make this season the most we can. So
this week you got the Montgomery Tigers, one of the biggest rivalry games on the schedule. How do you keep the guys focused on execution and not just the emotions of the rivalry?
That's a good question. So the biggest thing is in practice this week, we got to, as a coaching staff, we had to be a little bit harder on them. Obviously, I think us having a weekend's practices like we did caught their attention, so they understood that it was a little bit bigger of a deal to be focused for this game, because it's not just because it's a district opponent or it's Montgomery. To me, they're a faceless opponent. Everybody's got to be that way. Right now, we're fighting for the opportunity to host a home playoff game, and that's a big deal. You know, it's been since 2021 since we done that. And we got to capitalize on that and try to go out and be successful. Last year, you know, this team, they ended our season, and we had a chance to go to playoffs last year had we won that game, and we didn't. And they were very good, and they're still a good team. But we got to focus on us and doing the little details right. And I thought this is, overall, so far this week, it's been one of the better practice weeks we've had. So,
good. When you look at Montgomery on film, what are some things they do well that your team has to be ready for Friday night?
Well, their quarterback's like top 10 in the state in passing, so that says enough. He's a
2,200-yard pass.
Yeah, like 24 touchdowns on like 6 picks. So I mean, he's a high level player. He's
receivers with 700 apiece.
I've been here for 7 years. I've seen some very good quarterbacks in our district. He's probably the best. He's a good athlete. Their receivers are all pretty skilled guys as well, and they play hard. They got a good coaching staff, and they're very smart. So we got to be on our P's and Q's and be ready for this game. So
every rivalry game seems to come down to little things: effort, focus, execution. What will be the biggest key for our Tigers to come out on top this week?
Well, defensively, staying focused, not letting your eyes get lost and play fakes and stuff, staying on your assignment, doing your job, execution, effort, hustle, all that. Offensively, finishing blocks, being physical. We got to be willing to do whatever it takes to be the most physical team on the field the entire night. And we got to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves to us and protect the football, obviously.
You mentioned last year's Montgomery game. I got a good one for you.
Okay.
Last year's game against Montgomery was riddled with personal foul penalties on both sides. Heading into a rivalry matchup, how do you keep your team's discipline and focus to avoid those costly mistakes?
Well, we have our ways, but having said that, these guys do a pretty good job of staying focused on the assignment this year. And with that being said, you can't do anything selfishly. And in other words, being a selfish player, that's when you react to something on the field and you hurt the whole team in that moment. So they have to be team focused and team oriented, and be willing to be selfless and focus on the team and not just themselves. So that's the biggest thing.
Because a lot of times last year we would get like a big game, we'd get a personal foul, and they'd get one offsetting penalty. We'd go back and do that same play and get blown up.
Exactly.
So you talked about Mason George a while ago. He has shown he can really stretch the field through the air. How do you plan to slow down his passing attack and limit the big plays this week?
Well, that's a tough job. Obviously, we worked a lot on just mainly staying disciplined and getting off blocks and staying in our areas and doing the jobs that we're supposed to do. That's the biggest thing. So, and I'll just leave it at that for now.
He has 2 receivers with 700 receiving yards this season. How challenging will it be to contain both of them, and what plan to limit their impact on the game?
Well, it's a challenge to. I mean, honestly, anytime you have a quarterback that good, they make the guys around them better, and then the receivers are good. Don't get me wrong, but those guys are smart. They have a tendency to find open space, and when plays are extended and they break off their routes and just kind of get the grass, he's really good at finding them, and they're good at making the catches. So we got to be disciplined in our coverage, and and whoever's on that guy has to honor him and stick with him, and we got to make sure that we're doing a good job of trying to keep the quarterback in the pocket as much as possible and condense it around him, because he's one of those guys that I told the kids earlier this week, or told somebody, might not have been them, but I think it was one of the other coaches. I was like, I kind of compare him to like a Baker Mayfield in college. Like, you watch Baker Mayfield run his 40, he's probably not the fastest athlete and the best guy, but he is very athletic at the same time, and he's able to extend. And when he gets outside the pocket, that's when you're in trouble, because he's going to find somebody. And we got to do a good job of just playing disciplined defense. So,
well, it's going to be senior night here. Is the rest of the team rallying around your seniors this week? Are you seeing extra energy or leadership on the field as everyone looks to send the seniors out strong in this big rivalry game?
Yeah, senior night's a big deal to honor the seniors and stuff, and I hope the kids are trying to fight hard for them every week, not just this week. But that said, as far as that goes, I don't make a big deal out of stuff like that, because I mean, we need to focus on what we need to do as a team, and staying humble and doing the things that it needs to happen. So with that being said, I hope we rally around them, but I hope we continue to do it every week and every moment that we have left this season, not just Thursday night.
With the win over Montgomery Tigers, we could very well lock down a home playoff game for the LaSalle Tigers. How important would that be for your guys playing at home in front of the Tigers?
Well, it's a big deal because they don't have to get on a bus, because God forbid we have to go to like South Plaquemine or somewhere. You never know how that's going to work. But we get to stay home. They ain't got to get on the bus. They get to enjoy the moment of being in front of their home crowd, play on a field that they're familiar with. And it just means a little something different when you're playing at home and able to defend your own turf. So,
hosting a home playoff game, does that give them extra motivation, or do you just try to keep the guys focused on just taking it one game at a time?
Well, both. I'm obviously big on taking it one game at a time and staying focused on what we need to do in our assignments. But at the same time, I hope they have a little extra motivation to have a home playoff game. I've been telling them about it every day this week. If they don't, then I'm wasting my breath. So I hope they do. Guys, do you? Okay, they say yeah.
They say that's a good answer.
Yeah.
All right, next we got up number 23, Wyatt King. On offense, he's carried the ball 64 times for 365 yards, averaging 5.7 yards per carry, with 10 touchdowns on defense. Wyatt's been all over the field, 47 solo tackles, 37 assists, for a total of 84 tackles, including 6 tackles for loss. A real force on both sides of the ball. Wyatt, with those stats on offense, when you're carrying, what's on your mindset coming into each play?
Really just try to get positive yards each play. Just try not to go behind the line, because if you can get at least 3 yards a carry, then you can eventually get a first down. So, really just not get negative yards.
A lot of time it's pretty easy for you to get 3 yards a carry too. I mean, it's pretty tough to bring you down for 3 yards. When you get a chance to play quarterback, or maybe I should say Wildcat, What's your mindset going into that play? How do you approach leading the offense in those moments?
Well, really, I'm really focused on not dropping the snap like I did against Logan Sport because, well, that obviously cost us.
Yeah.
But really, I try to make sure that everybody's lined up right, and I just go with the flow, really.
Montgomery has shown a tough defense this season. What's your mindset going into running against them, and how are you looking to find holes and create big plays?
Really just running hard, and if I using my vision, and if I make a good cut and somebody's there, just run over them.
Okay. On offense, you've had some big runs this year. How do you read the defense pre-snap and decide whether to follow your blockers or make a move on your own?
Well, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really read the defense. I really just cut off butts because that's what they preach that all the time. So I really just.
That's a good answer. If Coach preaches that, I better run off the butts. Montgomery's defense is fast and aggressive. How do you stay patient and pick your spots to keep the drive alive?
Just really following my blockers. Just if they don't get pushed immediately, then I'll just run in behind them and push them more or make a good cut.
I've seen you do that. You're a leader on defense as well. How do you prepare to read Montgomery's offense and react to both the run and the pass?
Well, really, the lineman will give away the play just about every time. So if you have pulling guards, and as linebacker, you need to flow. But when you flow, you don't need to get too tight to the line or they'll get in your way. So, and then pass, you just either spy the quarterback or drop back into your zone or guard running back or something.
Good job. With Montgomery, two big receivers, and Mason Jordan throwing the ball, how do you communicate with your teammates to make sure everyone's on the same page?
Really? Well, we really yell all over the field what coverage we're in, what coverage we're in, and if it's pass or run. Like if you listen, whenever it's a pass, you can hear me and Daniel and all the other linebackers yelling pass to make sure they know that the ball's coming.
What's your mindset when it comes to setting the tone on defense, making tackles, and forcing Montgomery to earn every yard?
Just hit them hard, really.
Hit them hard, okay. This is a big rivalry game. Does that change the way you approach the game this week?
No, not at all. You need to, obviously you need to come in to the game with the mindset that you're going to win, but obviously it's a rivalry. I wouldn't say it goes back and forth, kind of. They don't like us.
Yeah.
Kind of. They always, and we don't really like them. So it's just you got to look at the game the same.
Montgomery is y'all's Gina. When I was in school, it was Gina, and now somehow it went from us being buddies with Gina, and now it's Montgomery, and they don't like us in any sport.
No.
All right, next up, we got number 5, Alex Richmond. On offense, he has 10 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown, plus 2 carries for 44 yards and another touchdown. On defense, he's been all over the field, 20 solo tackles, 13 assists, and a total of 33 tackles, including 2 tackles for loss and an interception. And if that's not enough, he also racked up 128 yards on kick returns. Alex, you've had big plays, both catching and running the ball this season. What's your mindset when you step on the field and line up on offense?
Well, we're mainly a running team, so a good majority of the time is to try and block the guy in front of me. But if it is a pass, try and get to open space. We got me and Caden and Tuff are all usually on the same page, and usually whatever moves we make, he's going to figure out what we're doing. Like in practice, we'll have a set route, and then if we see open space, we'll just cut over there and Tuff will make that throw. But other than that, blocking the guy in front of me and giving running backs and quarterbacks lanes to run through.
Yeah, that's right. Last week was a tough one against Logansport. Looking back, what did you and the team learn from that game, and how are you applying those lessons moving forward?
We learned that Logansport's pretty good, number one. And one thing we gotta do is gang tackle a lot better. We gotta flow over to where the ball's going, get off blocks. We've been
gang tackle.
We've been we've done drills to get off the blocks and stuff like that. So I know we can do it.
Yes,
Just
sir.
got to capitalize on it.
Looking at film this week, have you seen anything that can help you get open against Montgomery's defense? Are there specific tendencies or matchups you're looking to exploit?
No, not really. But whoever's in front of me, I'm confident I can probably make them miss or run by them. But if not, like I said, I'll just run to open space. Tough will see it. We can make something happen.
Montgomery's defense is physical. How do you use your speed and agility to gain separation and make big plays in key situations?
Usually whenever we do pass, it's like third down, somewhere around there. So I know that I can look at the sticks and see where I have, like, that's my limit of where I need to get to. And then off of that, just look at their leverage, cut based off of that, and try and get to open space.
Montgomery has two very talented wide receivers this week. How are you preparing to cover both of them and limit their big playability?
I think that we've been able to make plays covering most anybody that we've played. Last week we did have some problems, but they're very athletic. I think this week we can match up a little bit better, and we're doing a good bit of zone stuff, so we're going to try and keep everything in front of us and make sure to stay on the receivers constantly.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Very important.
Don't get our eyes caught in the backfield.
Mm.
It's going to be tough, but I think we can do it.
What's the key to staying disciplined and patient in coverage against receivers who can make defenders miss and stretch the field?
Watching hips and not getting your head or not looking in the backfield. I mean, I feel like this week it's going to be a little bit easier because they're probably 80% pass, 20% run, and
Right.
I'm confident my pals over here to my left and right can
What
do
I was sitting
something
there thinking,
if
maybe
it is
your
run. So
defensive line and your linebackers will
Hopefully.
put enough pressure on him and throw him off.
mhm.
How do you communicate with your teammates in the secondary to make sure everyone is on the same page and ready for Montgomery's passing attack?
We'll usually be able to see if it's passed pretty quick, but like they said, they'll yell pass or run. And then, I mean, if somebody runs past my face and they got a zone over there, then I'll yell in, or out,
Yeah.
out, depending on whatever they're doing.
Are there I can't get that word out. Are there tendencies or patterns you've seen on film from those receivers that you're planning to use to your advantage?
Well, something that we talked about today was that they try and make everything a flood. Most of the time, they got a couple mesh stuff, but they're trying to get everybody kind of flow into one side of the field and then
Go to the other.
usually throwing it
Misdirect.
deep.
Yeah.
But
This is a big rivalry game. Does that change the way you approach your routes and your focus as a receiver?
no, not really. But obviously, it being a district rival,
Rivalry.
there's some of our players that are gonna want to, make some plays on certain people because obviously, whenever you get into district, you play these people every single year. You kind of know who's who.
Yes, sir.
Get some talking going occasionally.
All right. Next up, we got number 32, Daniel Stowe. As a linebacker, he has 18 solo tackles, 21 assists, totaling 39 tackles, along with 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and a fumble recovery. And don't forget, he also on special teams standout, making plays everywhere. I mean, you make a lot of tackles on special teams, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, here we go. I told you the other night you got to talk. Daniel, last week against Logansport, what did you take away from that game, and how are you using those lessons to prepare for Montgomery?
Well, I really took away the fact that I need to stop lowering my head when I try to tackle people. Not that nice.
No.
And then I gotta pay more attention to the line. Because every time I get my eyes caught in the backfield, I end up getting my ankles broken. And they get a 12, 30, something like that.
Yeah. As a linebacker, you're in the middle of the action on every play. What's your mindset going into each snap to stay ready for both the run and the pass?
Well, when I'm at linebacker, I mainly play inside linebacker.
Right.
So I'm focused on the run and then the pass. So I'm ready to focus on the line and then watch the backfield to see what goes on next. And yeah. And when it comes at me, I just hit him, I guess.
That's right. That's a basic thing right there. If they come at you, hit them. How do you read the offense pre-snap and communicate with your teammates to make sure everyone is aligned and prepared?
So that's really easy because if you see a lineman pull, it's most likely a run in the direction the way they're pulling. So you can scream run, 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 and that Wyatt will take that lead blocker for me, and I'll fill in and hit whoever comes next.
That's right. Montgomery has a strong running game and big receivers. How do you balance playing aggressive versus staying disciplined in your assignments?
I guess just stay in my area, I guess. Do my job.
Yep. When you see a play developing, how do you decide whether to fill the gap or drop into coverage or pressure the ball carrier?
Well, it's all in the blocking for the run play. If there's no blocking for the run play, it's probably not going to be a run play. Then I know drop into coverage. It's pretty much the same thing every time, really.
I love you. I love your answers. Short, it's sweet, and to the point. That's exactly what you were coached to do. Linebackers often set the tone for the defense. How do you try to lead on the field and motivate your teammates during a tough rivalry game?
Well, I guess we really got to hit somebody, I guess. Make everybody else want to hit somebody, I guess.
Yeah. Open field tackles can be game-changing plays. How do you prepare physically and mentally to make sure you're in position to bring down that runner?
Well, I'm not too great at solo tackling, but you're really supposed to track that inside hip. So whenever they're trying to move or maneuver, you just track the inside hip, and they can't really juke you.
When you're in the middle of the field and see a play developing, how do you decide when to attack the ball carrier? I already asked that one, didn't I? No, that's a different. Yeah, I did ask that. All right, we'll go to Cooper then.
All right.
Next up, number 22, Cooper Stowe. He plays defensive end and fullback. On defense, Cooper has 2 solo tackles, 5 assists, totaling 7 tackles this season. On offense, he's contributed 1 reception. Cooper, coming off a knee injury, how much has that affected your game this season, and what have you done to get back to full strength?
Well, having an ACL tear is kind of a substantial injury.
Yes.
But the main part of the injury was not, I mean, the physical therapy was hard and that was a grind, but the mental game of it is really the hardest part to come off of that. I didn't play football at the beginning of this year. I stayed in the weight room. I was playing baseball and all that. But seeing my team out there, I was helping kind of coaching everything. Right. And I was just like, I'm going to regret it if I graduate and I didn't play my junior year of football. So really just hit the weights hard. You got to make sure that your legs strengthen up. And then when I play out there, just make sure that I'm giving it my all. I can't back down. I mean, if I'm out there and I'm scared because of a knee injury and I take one play off, that could be a touchdown. So I just got to make sure that I'm locked in, working hard to get back to where I was. I mean, I lost a lot of my agility and stuff like that, but every day coach is helping me. He helped me get back into it slowly, and I'm getting back to where I was. It's just a matter of staying locked in and not missing any reps.
You have definitely bounced back a lot faster than I thought you would, and I'm very proud of that. Looking back at last week's game against Logansport, what did you learn on the defensive side of the ball, and how are you using those lessons to prepare for Montgomery?
Well, I used to play a lot of linebacker, and after I joined back, our team needed a defensive end, so that's where I went. And I kind of got thrown in the middle of a game one day, and it's really just it's a simple job, and you keep contained and do whatever you can to help your team out. And going up, I had a really good matchup last week. I had a big guy on me, and it was kind of hard to always do that right. And I just got to make sure that I'm doing my job. I'm not always going to get the most tackles. I'm not always going to get recognition. But as long as I'm keeping that edge and my linebackers are able to get tackles, then I'm doing my job. So that's all I got to focus on.
With Montgomery coming up, how are you planning to step up on defense and make an impact for the Tigers this week? Are there here we go again, specific areas in focusing on to help the team succeed?
Yeah, well, as we've talked about, Mason Jordan, he's really good. He's good at stepping up in the pocket, but as well as that, if he gets outside of the pocket and extends the play, that's really a bad thing for our defense. So me as a defensive end, I got to make sure if he rolls my way, I got my outside shoulder free, get a tackle for loss, or at worst, keep him in the pocket. Yeah. He's not able to extend the play, and that just creates opportunities for our defense so that they don't get plays that are broke loose, like long passes or anything like that he's good at.
Montgomery has a strong offensive line. From your perspective on defense, is there any way to exploit the matchups or tendencies to disrupt the running game and put pressure on their quarterback?
Really, just do my job, and if I get an opportunity to get a tackle, hit the crap out of them. You know what I mean? If I hit them hard as I can, take on pullers. If I hit them at their knees hard as I can, they're not going to want to hit me.
Yeah.
That closes running lanes, causes them to bounce it outside. We got guys spilling over. That's a tackle for loss right there. I just got to focus on the small little details, because if I do that, then they won't have big plays.
Great answer. Rivalry games like Montgomery always bring extra energy and pressure. How do you prepare mentally to stay focused and execute your assignments?
Really, it is a mental game, knowing that you're having a big district game. A lot of stuff on the line for this game, but we have a good senior leadership. Our coaches preach it. I mean, every single game that we play is the most important, and we can't get in our head about it being a district rival. We go out there, play a perfect game, we win, we go on to playoffs. It's the same as a normal game. We can't overthink the district rivalry deal. We just got to do our assignment, and that's all we can do.
How do you and your teammates keep emotions in check on the field while still playing with intensity against a big rivalry?
Well, to be honest, we keep each other in check, because somebody mouths off to me, I try not to mouth off back. But sometimes, I mean, you get in your own head, and your teammate's always right there saying, hey, don't mouth off, don't want to start something. But I always try to start the game off, kind of give the guy I'm going up against the majority of the time, kind of start it off good. That way we ain't having a bunch of bad blood throughout the game, because, I mean, football is a game of intensity and hard hitting and stuff like that, but I don't think it should always be about being completely mad at each other and being turd heads, because you can still have a good civil game and still play hard.
Matter of fact, I seen you reach across the line and shake the offensive tackle's hand before the game started. That was good. Are there drills or film study habits you're focusing on to make sure you're ready for Montgomery?
Well, I watch the film over and over, the teams that I'm playing, study kind of the positions I'm going up against, kind of seeing little things that they do wrong that I can exploit and do things to help our team out. But I also like to focus on the things that I did wrong last week, because you're never going to have a perfect game. If I did something wrong, and especially multiple times, I got to focus on that and work hard in practice and never give up. No, never take a play off, because I got to get better. And if I'm taking plays off, I'm going to play with low intensity during the game.
Rivalry games are about momentum and big plays. How do you prepare yourself to stay consistent and make an impact on every snap?
Give 100% effort every time. If I get the chance to hit somebody, get a fumble recovery, get a kickoff recovery, whatever I got to do to capitalize on big moments, force turnovers and things like that, we have to be able to get them big moments, get energy going throughout the game. And whatever I'm doing, I have to make sure that I'm doing my job and not focus on other people.
All right, I got a question for you and Daniel. You both have had older brothers set a strong example on the field before you. Is it ever tough trying to live up to the way they played? And how do you each work to make your own name out there on Friday nights?
Well, my older brother is Jesse, the one you were talking about earlier. And so, I mean, he's a heck of a running back. I don't think I've ever seen him play a game where he wasn't super duper, well, for lack of a better word, murderous, I guess, to get the ball down the field. And I don't know. I guess it'd be kind of hard to fill them shoes, I guess. I'm going to have to try hard.
All right, Cooper, let's hear what you got to say about Big Kanan.
Well, if y'all don't know, my brother's 6'4", 260, behemoth of a human. Didn't get them genes. But as far as that goes, from the offensive side, he was a offensive lineman,
right.
And I'm not. I guess I could be if I keep eating the Little Debbie's like I do. But as far as the defensive perspective, he was a defensive end, and he was a monstrous human being. I mean, there was nobody that's going to outman him, in all honesty. But I just got to focus on, I'm a little bit quicker than he was, just naturally being a little lower to the ground. I got to focus on getting off the ball hard and just doing the things that he wasn't able to do. But at the same time, you know, big bro's good player. Got to give him the upper hand a little bit, but at the same time, I'm always trying to beat his records.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I got one for all of y'all. In the past 20 years, who has won more head-to-head matchups, LaSalle or Montgomery, and which team currently leads the series?
We do by a large margin. I'm pretty
No.
sure.
You think it's a large margin?
Pretty sure.
Cooper, what do you think?
I think we're winning, but I think it's like not like a crazy large margin. Like maybe like how many 20 years? Like,
20 in 20 years.
Like who's got more?
Who got the
wins?
most wins and
Maybe
who's
like-
leading the series?
15-5 or something like that. Us.
Mhm. You wrong.
I don't know what Cooper's on, but I think we're what Alex said. I think we're beating them by a pretty large margin. Closer to
Okay,
like
you wrong too.
17-3 maybe. I don't know.
No, you're wrong.
Speaking of,
Well, based on the other answers, it's obviously pretty close.
Very close.
So, let me see.
Actually, I had to give them a playoff game that Coach Johnson lost in.
Actually, I'm
Because
not even going to guess. I'm just
it-
going to say it's close.
Okay. It's 11-9. We actually didn't play them in 2020, so it wouldn't be 20 years. So I had to give them Coach Johnson's loss to them in the 13-14. I didn't want to.
I won the first
I wanted to skip it, Coach.
one. I won the first one.
So they're beating us 11.
No, we're beating them 11-9, and we've never lost 3 in a row to them. Never.
Way to put the-
In all 20 years that I could go back. Actually, I went back 21 years. We've never lost 3 games in a row to Montgomery. So Friday night, we're not going to lose 3 more, are we?
No.
No, we're not doing that. That's going to wrap it up this week's episode of Tiger Talk. We want to thank Coach Johnson, along with our players, Wyatt King, Alex Richmond, Daniel Stowe, Cooper Stowe, for joining us tonight and sharing their thoughts and heading into Thursday night's big rivalry matchup against Montgomery. A huge thank you as well to our sponsor and state representative, Gabe Furman, for supporting the Tiger Talk and us all Tiger football. I wish he'd have been here because I was going to ask him who was going to win, Montgomery or LaSalle, because he's over LaSalle Parish, Grant Parish, and Natchitoches Parish, but he ain't here. We'll be back next week to break down all the action from the rivalry game and look ahead to what's next for your LaSalle Tigers. For all of us here at Tiger Talk, I'm Jason Peppers saying thank you for tuning in.